Have you ever wondered if you could connect with someone's soul without speaking a word, without a single touch? What if I told you that the secret to this telepathic connection lies not in the external world, but in the power of your own imagination and assumption? You see, love is not just about physical presence. It's a bond that transcends time, space, and even distance. I can tell you from my own life that when you learn to connect with someone deeply, when you truly believe that your soulmate is already connected to you, something extraordinary happens. Your imagination, when directed with absolute conviction, opens the doors to an invisible world where connection occurs on a deeper telepathic level. I've experienced this myself, and I will share that moment with you today so you can grasp the essence of this incredible power. It was years ago I found myself pondering the nature of relationships. I had always heard people speak of soulmates, but it wasn't until I applied the power of assumption and imagination that I truly understood what it meant. I decided to live as though my soulmate was already in my life. I did not look for signs or clues outside of myself. I simply assumed that the connection was already established. I felt it deeply. Every part of me knew we were connected, even if we hadn't met in the physical world yet. And then, the unexplainable happened. One evening, I was sitting alone, meditating on the idea of my soulmate, and I imagined her presence beside me. I didn't need to see her, I just knew. I felt her energy, her soul, and I allowed myself to embrace that connection fully. The next day, I received a letter. It was from someone I had never met, but their words spoke as though they had been with me forever. The letter was full of understanding, empathy, and warmth. I knew at that moment it was her. And just like that, the telepathic bond between us had been awakened. The first step in unlocking the telepathic connection with your soulmate is to assume, with unwavering certainty, that the bond already exists. It is not something to hope for. It is something to live as though it is already here. Your imagination is a powerful tool. When you begin to imagine your soulmate's presence in your life, not as a distant possibility, but as a current reality, you start to shape the connection before it manifests. It's not enough to think about your soulmate. You must feel them in your heart, in your mind. That telepathic connection is born from deep emotional resonance, when your feelings match the vibration of your soulmate. To truly connect telepathically with your soulmate, live in the end result. Assume that you already share that deep connection, and in doing so, you invite it into your life. The connection between soulmates is often invisible to the eye, but tangible to the soul. When you accept that there are unseen forces at play, forces that work through your thoughts and assumptions, you open yourself to receiving the connection in its most profound form. Every thought, assumption, and feeling emits a frequency. When you attune your inner frequency to the frequency of your soulmate, you create the environment for that telepathic connection to thrive. Your energy aligns, and the bond becomes undeniable. Just as in any manifestation process, trust is essential. Trust in the unseen, and trust that the universe, in response to your assumption, will lead you toward the physical manifestation of the telepathic connection you've cultivated in your mind. The telepathic connection does not fade. It grows stronger with persistent faith and emotional conviction. Every time you revisit the assumption that you are already connected, you reinforce the bond and draw it closer to you. By applying these principles, you too can experience the secret art of connecting telepathically with your soulmate. The process is simple yet profound, and it all begins with the power of your own imagination. Imagine for a moment that you have the ability to create anything you desire, not by working harder, but simply by changing your thoughts and assumptions. The first and most crucial step in mastering the art of telepathic connection with your soulmate is realizing the profound power of assumption. We are taught to believe that reality is something fixed, something that exists independent of our thoughts, but nothing could be further from the truth. Our thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions are not just reflections of the world, they are the creators of the world around us. Assumption is not wishful thinking, nor is it a fleeting hope. Assumption is the act of embracing a reality that has yet to manifest physically. It is about imagining the end result with absolute certainty, as though it has already occurred. When you assume something, you step into the future with your mind and your feelings, and allow your consciousness to experience it as a present reality. This is the key to unlocking any form of manifestation, and it is especially powerful when it comes to connecting with your soulmate. The process is deceptively simple, yet incredibly profound. To connect telepathically with your soulmate, you must begin by assuming that the bond between you already exists. The world will try to tell you that it is impossible, that love happens when it happens, that soulmates are something destined by fate or timing, but that is not the law of creation. Your thoughts and assumptions shape your reality, and the moment you decide that your soulmate is already connected to you, you change the course of your life. When you assume that the telepathic bond between you and your soulmate is already established, your mind will begin to shift. You stop searching for external evidence to prove that it is true because you already know it. Imagine, for example, that you are in a relationship with someone and you want to deepen the bond you share. The first step is to assume that the relationship has already reached the level of depth and understanding that you desire. You must imagine that every conversation you have with this person is filled with profound connection, and that there is an unspoken understanding between you. You assume that you are already communicating telepathically, that your words are unnecessary, because your souls are already in sync. This assumption does not require you to wait for the physical manifestation to occur. It requires you to be unwavering in your belief that the connection is already real, even though you cannot yet see it. It is about living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The moment you step into this assumption with absolute faith, you are not just imagining the future, you are creating it. You are bringing it into the present moment. Now, it is important to understand that this assumption is not based on the outer circumstances. It is not based on the current state of your relationship or your ability to see the person you wish to connect with. It is not based on logic or physical evidence. It is based entirely on your inner belief, your emotional state, and your unwavering conviction. The law of assumption works regardless of the situation. In fact, the more seemingly impossible the situation, the more powerful your assumption becomes. It is not about waiting for the external world to align with your desires. It is about changing your inner world first and allowing the external to follow. To truly understand the power of assumption, think of it as planting a seed in the fertile soil of your mind. The seed is your assumption, and the soil is your belief system. As you tend to that seed with your thoughts and feelings, you nurture it until it grows into the reality you have imagined. The moment you make the assumption that your soulmate is already connected to you, you plant the seed of that connection, and just as a seed grows when it is given time and care, so too will your assumption begin to take root in your life. What often happens is that people mistakenly believe that they must see signs, or that they must receive external confirmation that their assumption is true before they can believe in it. But that is the very trap that keeps them from manifesting what they desire. The assumption must come first. The belief must come before the evidence. If you wait for the evidence to appear first, you will be stuck in a cycle of disbelief. But when you make the assumption that your soulmate is already connected to you, you open the door to that connection, and the world will begin to rearrange itself to match your belief. This is why assumption is so powerful. It is not simply a mental exercise. It is an emotional experience. It involves embodying the feeling of having already achieved what you desire. To connect with your soulmate telepathically, you must assume that the connection already exists, and then live as though it is real. The feeling of connection must be so vivid, so real to you, that it becomes a part of your daily experience. The more real you make it in your mind, the faster it will materialize in your life. Now, I understand that this may seem challenging at first. It may seem difficult to believe in something you cannot see or touch. But that is the nature of creation. We are not limited by our physical senses. Our imagination is the gateway to all possibilities, and through imagination we can create worlds, relationships, and connections that go beyond what we can perceive with our five senses. The moment you assume that you are already connected with your soulmate, your mind begins to open the channels for that connection to unfold. In my own life, I have experienced this process firsthand. I remember a time when I was deeply desiring to connect with someone, but I did not know how. I had no physical proof that we were connected, but I assumed it with every fiber of my being. I imagined that we were already in perfect harmony, that our souls were in constant communication. And one day, out of the blue, I received a message. It was from the person I had been assuming was my soulmate. The message was filled with understanding and love, and it confirmed the very connection I had been imagining. The assumption had worked. The telepathic connection had already been established in the realm of thought and imagination, and the physical world followed suit. Assumption is the most powerful tool at your disposal. It is the key to unlocking the telepathic connection with your soulmate. The moment you assume that the connection already exists, you will begin to notice the changes in your life. You will see evidence of this connection everywhere you go, and more importantly, you will feel it in your heart, in your soul, in your very being. This is the art of connection. No longer waiting for the world to show you the way, but knowing with absolute certainty that what you have assumed is already true. When you begin to explore the power of telepathic connection between soulmates, the next crucial step after assuming that the connection already exists is to understand the role of imagination. Imagination is not merely a fantasy or a daydream. It is the very mechanism through which we shape our reality. Everything that exists in the physical world began as an idea, a vision, or an image in someone's mind. The chair you sit on, the phone you hold in your hand, the house you live in, all these things were once images, vivid imaginings before they were ever created. So it stands to reason that the connection you seek, the telepathic bond with your soulmate, also begins in the realm of imagination. It is not separate from the physical world. It is simply in its unseen, invisible form. Your imagination holds the key to this connection. For it is in the world of the unseen that we begin to connect with the unseen forces of love, fate, and destiny. You see, the universe operates through energy and vibrations, and these energies are constantly being shaped by the power of imagination. So when you close your eyes and picture the telepathic connection with your soulmate, you are tuning your consciousness to that frequency. Imagination allows you to reach beyond the physical and enter into a state where thoughts and feelings are not bound by space and time. The power of imagination is often underestimated, but it is the tool by which you can bridge the gap between the conscious and the subconscious, the material and the immaterial. When you begin imagining your soulmate's presence in your life, when you envision the connection as if it is already here, you are doing far more than creating a mental picture. You are altering your vibrational frequency and aligning yourself with the energy of that connection. You are not simply imagining a potential future. You are living in the future, in the present moment, as though the bond already exists. This is the essence of creation. Imagination is the gateway through which all things, including telepathic connections, come to fruition. You are sitting in a quiet room, alone with your thoughts, and you begin to picture your soulmate. You see their face clearly in your mind. You feel their presence beside you, even though they are not physically there. You allow your heart to open, and you imagine their thoughts, their feelings, their love for you. As you do so, you are not merely imagining what you hope will happen in the future. You are living in the experience of it now. Your imagination becomes so real so vivid that you begin to feel the emotions of being connected to them. You feel their love, their energy, and you feel the telepathic bond between you. This is not just a fleeting daydream. It is a powerful, conscious act of creation. Imagination is the bridge between what is and what can be. When you imagine your soulmate and feel that telepathic connection, you are inviting that reality to come into existence. The more you engage with this connection in your mind, the more you begin to mold it, shape it, and make it a part of your life. Your mind does not know the difference between what is imagined and what is real. It cannot distinguish between the images you hold in your mind and the reality you experience. This is why imagination is so powerful. It takes your deepest desires and transforms them into something tangible, something that will eventually manifest in the physical world. There is no limit to the power of your imagination. You can imagine the most profound connection with your soulmate, one that goes beyond words, beyond touch, one that exists on the deepest, most intimate level. As you focus on this imagined connection, you begin to see signs of it in your daily life. You may begin to feel a sense of closeness and understanding with your soulmate, even if you have never met. You might find that your thoughts seem to sync up in strange and unexpected ways, or that you know exactly what they are thinking or feeling, even from a distance. These are the first signs that your telepathic connection is beginning to manifest, all because you have used the power of imagination to create the reality you desire. You may wonder, how do you know that this is truly the power of imagination at work? How can you be sure that what you are experiencing is not just coincidence or fantasy? The answer lies in the feeling, the emotional intensity that accompanies these imagined experiences. When you feel the presence of your soulmate in your imagination, when you feel their energy, you are not merely playing with thoughts. You are engaging with a real and powerful force. The more real this connection feels to you, the more you are anchoring it into your life. Your imagination creates a path, and your emotions are the energy that powers it, guiding you toward the fulfillment of your desire. The process of imagination works in layers. At first, it may seem distant, like a fleeting thought that doesn't have much substance. But as you persist in your imagining, as you allow yourself to deeply feel the connection with your soulmate, it becomes more solid, more tangible. The images become clearer, the emotions more intense, and soon you will find that what you imagined so vividly begins to reflect itself in the physical world. This is the beauty of imagination. It starts as a seed, but with nurturing, it grows into a flourishing reality. In the process of connecting telepathically with your soulmate, it is essential to allow your imagination to roam freely. Do not limit it. Do not confine it to the boundaries of what you think is possible. The moment you begin to restrict your imagination, you also restrict the potential of the connection. Imagination is limitless, and so too is the connection you share with your soulmate. Allow yourself to imagine the most profound, most beautiful connection, and trust that your imagination will guide you toward that reality. It is not enough to merely picture your soulmate once and then forget about it. True power comes when you consistently engage with the images of the connection, when you continually visualize the bond as if it already exists. This consistent engagement with your imagination trains your mind to focus on that connection, and in doing so, you are actively participating in the creation of your reality. The telepathic connection you seek is not a far-off dream. It is already present in your imagination, and through your persistent belief and feeling, it will become a physical reality. Imagination is the secret to unlocking the telepathic connection with your soulmate. It is the tool that allows you to transcend time and space, to connect with the essence of another soul. Through imagination, you can bring your soulmate into your life, even before they physically appear. It all begins with the power of your mind, the power to see what is not yet seen, to feel what is not yet felt, and to know what is not yet known. The moment you fully embrace the power of imagination, you will discover that your soulmate is not a distant possibility, but a living, breathing connection that already exists, ready to be awakened by your mind and heart. When it comes to connecting telepathically with your soulmate, one of the most profound and powerful tools you have is the ability to feel that connection. This goes beyond just imagining or visualizing your soulmate's presence. It involves deeply engaging your emotions in the process. Feelings are the emotional currency of creation. They are the force that fuels the power of imagination. And when you feel the telepathic connection in your heart and soul, you are effectively activating that connection in a way that the mind alone cannot achieve. The mind can imagine, visualize, and conceptualize, but it is the feeling that breathes life into those thoughts. If imagination is the blueprint, feeling is the catalyst that makes the blueprint manifest. This is why many people who desire to connect deeply with their soulmate might struggle. They imagine and think about the connection, but they fail to fully feel it. Feeling is not just an add-on, it is essential. It is the bridge that links the mental and emotional realms to the physical world. When you connect emotionally with your soulmate in your imagination, you are not just thinking about them, you are experiencing the relationship as if it already exists. You are immersing yourself in the joy of that connection, the warmth of their love, the peace that comes with understanding. Feel what it would be like to be close to them, to share your life with them, to have them understand you deeply and completely without words. The more vividly you can feel this connection, the more real it becomes, and the more rapidly it will begin to manifest in the physical world. Imagine for a moment how it would feel to be in perfect harmony with your soulmate, communicating without speaking, understanding each other's thoughts and emotions before they are even expressed. You can experience this without the physical presence of your soulmate. The power of emotional connection transcends the limitations of space and time. Your feelings are not bound by physical proximity. Just as a thought can travel across vast distances in an instant, so too can your feelings. And when you engage emotionally with the connection, you are sending out a powerful signal to the universe that this bond already exists. It is not enough to simply want this connection. Wanting is a state of lack. And when you feel that you want something, you are simultaneously acknowledging that you do not have it. This creates a sense of separation. Instead, you must feel as if the connection is already present, as though the bond between you and your soulmate is already an established reality. You must embody that connection emotionally, allowing your heart to open and overflow with love, understanding, and gratitude. When you do this, the universe will respond, because the emotional energy you put out is what attracts the very thing you are feeling. Feeling deeply connected to your soulmate, even before you meet or while you may be physically separated, brings the bond into alignment with the universe. Your feelings are the language through which you communicate with the world around you. They are a form of energy that vibrates and resonates with everything in your environment. The moment you align your feelings with the telepathic connection you desire, the energy around you begins to shift, and you begin to draw your soulmate closer to you. When you begin to feel the telepathic connection, you are not simply imagining or wishing for the connection, you are experiencing it as though it already exists. The more real you make this connection in your mind and heart, the more real it becomes. Your feelings of love, gratitude, and emotional resonance are like magnets that pull you toward the reality you have imagined. In the same way that you might feel the love of a partner even when they are not physically with you, your feelings of connection with your soulmate are not limited by the distance between you. In fact, the more deeply you feel the connection, the more powerful the bond becomes. Now, it is important to understand that this connection is not based on physical attraction or superficial desires. It is not based on what you see with your eyes, but on what you feel with your heart. Your emotional connection with your soulmate is not something that can be measured or analyzed with the mind. It is something that transcends the physical realm and speaks directly to your soul. The more you focus on the emotional experience of being with your soulmate, the more that connection becomes a part of your reality. You are not simply imagining a future together. You are emotionally engaging with that future now, in the present moment. There may be times when doubt creeps in, or when the reality of your current situation makes it seem impossible to feel this connection. But it is precisely at these moments that you must trust in the power of feeling. When you feel the connection, despite the circumstances, you are acting in faith. You are not relying on external signs or evidence. You are trusting in the emotional power of your connection, and that faith is what transforms the imagined reality into the manifested one. You can practice this emotional engagement by taking time each day to focus on how you want to feel with your soulmate. Imagine the emotions that arise from being understood, being loved, being connected at a soul level. Let yourself feel those emotions fully. Allow them to wash over you and fill your entire being. The more often you do this, the stronger the connection becomes. And over time, the universe will reflect those feelings back to you by bringing you closer to your soulmate, both energetically and physically. The role of feeling in establishing a telepathic connection is profound because it bypasses the limitations of time and space. Emotions do not have boundaries. They are the universal language that connects all beings. The more deeply you can connect emotionally with your soulmate, the more that connection will manifest in your life. You will begin to sense their thoughts, their feelings, and their presence, even if they are not physically with you. And as this bond strengthens, you will find that you are drawn together by the invisible threads of love, understanding, and emotional resonance that you have cultivated through your feelings. An end feeling is the key that unlocks the door to a deep, telepathic connection with your soulmate. When you feel that connection with your soul, you are not waiting for it to happen in the future, you are living it in the present. And when you live in that emotional connection, the world around you will begin to reflect it, bringing your soulmate closer with every thought, every feeling, and every emotional resonance. The telepathic bond will become an undeniable force, guiding you toward each other as your hearts and souls align in perfect harmony. To truly unlock the telepathic connection with your soulmate, you must not only imagine and feel the connection, but also live in the end result of that connection. Living in the end is one of the most profound practices for manifesting anything into your life. And it is especially powerful when it comes to relationships, love, and deep emotional bonds. When you live in the end result, you are not waiting for your soulmate to come into your life. You are assuming that the bond is already formed, that the connection is already there, and that you are already experiencing the fullness of that relationship. Living in the end means fully embracing the belief that your soulmate is already connected to you. It means no longer seeking external validation or signs to confirm that the connection is real, but rather acting as if it already is. You no longer wait for the circumstances to change. You change your inner world first and trust that the outer world will reflect your new inner reality. By living in the end result of your soulmate connection, you embody the feeling and the reality of that bond, regardless of what the external world may present. Think about it for a moment. When you live in the end, you do not need to prove anything. You do not need to chase your soulmate or search for them. Instead, you embody the feeling of already being in that perfect telepathic bond. You live as if you are already together, already in harmony, and already understanding each other's thoughts and feelings. You don't need to question it, doubt it, or wonder when it will happen. You simply accept that it is already true and live your life from that place of certainty. The act of living in the end is a state of mind, a way of being. It requires you to shift from the state of I am waiting for my soulmate to the state of I am already in a deep and connected relationship. When you assume that the connection with your soulmate already exists, you begin to see everything in your life through the lens of that assumption. You see the world as a place where the bond between you and your soulmate is not only possible, but inevitable. This assumption becomes your new truth, and your feelings, thoughts, and actions align with this truth. For example, let's say you are yearning for a deep emotional connection with someone, but you currently feel alone or disconnected. In this moment, it may be tempting to focus on the lack, to feel the absence of your soulmate. But when you live in the end, you no longer focus on what is missing. You focus on what you already have. You feel the connection, even in the absence of physical evidence, because you are living as though it already exists. You may begin to feel the emotions that come with being deeply connected: love, understanding, peace, harmony, and you live in those emotions as if they are your present reality. Living in the end also involves acting from that place of assumption. It's not just about thinking or feeling that the connection is already established, but also about how you behave in alignment with that belief. When you live in the end, you carry yourself with the confidence and certainty of someone who is already in a deeply connected relationship. Your actions reflect your inner reality. You do not wait for your soulmate to appear before you act in accordance with that bond. Instead, you act as though the connection is already real, and in doing so, you align yourself with the energy of that connection. It's also important to note that living in the end means accepting and embracing the fact that everything you need is already within you. Your soulmate is not something external that you must find or chase. They are already a part of you, and the connection between you is already established in the unseen world. Living in the end means understanding that you do not need to go looking for what is already yours. Instead, you simply need to align with that reality and allow it to come to you. Living in the end does not mean ignoring your current circumstances or pretending that everything is perfect right now. It means accepting that the connection with your soulmate exists beyond your present circumstances. It means focusing on the truth of your desired connection and allowing that truth to shape your reality. Your outer world may not immediately reflect your inner assumption, but as you persist in living from the end, your outer world will eventually align with your inner truth. The more you embody the feeling of being in that deep, telepathic connection, the more that connection will manifest in your life. This practice requires patience and trust. When you live in the end, you are planting the seeds of your desired reality. You must trust that the seeds you've planted will grow, even if you cannot see the physical evidence of them right away. Trusting the process of living in the end is essential because it requires you to believe in the unseen forces that are at work. The universe is always responding to the energy you put out. And when you live in the end, you are sending out the energy of your soulmate connection, which the universe will begin to match. When you make the assumption that the connection is already real, you begin to observe subtle signs in your daily life that reflect this new reality. You might find yourself experiencing moments of synchronicity where you and your soulmate seem to be on the same wavelength, thinking the same thoughts or having the same feelings. These are the signs that the connection is already in motion, even if you cannot yet see the full picture. The more you live in the end, the more these signs will appear, and the stronger the connection will become. Living in the end means allowing yourself to be fully immersed in the feeling of love, connection, and understanding. It is not a passive act, but an active one. It requires you to embody the feelings of being in that deep connection every single day. And as you do, you align yourself with the telepathic bond you seek, drawing your soulmate closer with every thought, every feeling, and every assumption. Your reality will inevitably shift to match the end result you are living from, and the telepathic connection that you have assumed will become a tangible part of your life. There is a law that governs all of creation, one that works tirelessly in the background, often unseen but always present. It is the law that shapes and molds reality, regardless of whether we are aware of it or not. This law is the principle that your inner world, the thoughts you entertain, the feelings you nurture, the assumptions you make, creates the outer world you experience. It does not matter what the outside world appears to be. The connection you seek, the telepathic bond you desire with your soulmate, is shaped by the unseen forces of the mind and emotions. When you truly accept that this law is at work, you begin to understand that the bond you seek with your soulmate is not something that will come from outside of you. It is something that exists, waiting to be revealed as soon as you align your inner world with the desired connection. The law that governs creation is not concerned with external circumstances. It is not concerned with time or space. It works through the energy of assumption and belief. The moment you assume that the telepathic connection with your soulmate already exists, you set this law into motion. It begins to rearrange your inner and outer world to reflect this new assumption. The universe does not question what you believe to be true. It responds to the energy you send out into the world. If you believe in the telepathic bond with your soulmate, the universe will move things around to bring that connection into being, regardless of the apparent obstacles or circumstances in your life. When you come to truly understand the power of this law, you stop waiting for things to change on their own. Instead, you realize that you are the one who must change first. You must shift your inner reality, your assumptions, and your beliefs to match the connection you desire. The universe does not operate in the way we often think it does. We are not dependent on time, distance, or physical proximity to establish a connection. The moment you assume that the telepathic bond with your soulmate already exists, you are stepping into a new reality, one in which this connection is inevitable. Now, this process requires an essential element: faith. Faith in the unseen, faith in the power of your own assumptions, and faith in the law that governs all creation. When you have faith in this law, you understand that no external evidence is necessary to prove the truth of your connection. You do not wait for signs from the outside world. You do not look to the physical realm for confirmation of what you already know to be true in your heart. The connection exists in the unseen world, and the moment you assume it, you bring it into the realm of the seen. The law works not through effort or struggle, but through the belief that is already done. When you embody that belief, you align yourself with the law and begin to see the world shift to reflect the truth you are holding within. This is not something you must wait for or force into existence. You are not dependent on the actions of others or on external circumstances. The telepathic bond with your soulmate is yours to claim, and it begins with the inner shift of assuming that the connection is already real. The universe then moves in response to that assumption. The connection does not need to be earned or created. It is simply waiting for you to align with it. Your assumption, when held with conviction, begins to shape your reality in ways that may seem miraculous. You will begin to notice the signs, the synchronicities, and the subtle shifts that tell you that the bond you have assumed is already beginning to manifest. This law is often misunderstood, for many people believe that they must wait for external confirmation or evidence before they can believe that their desires are already realized. But that is the very trap that keeps them in a state of longing and lack. The law does not operate according to what you can see or what you can perceive with your senses. It operates according to what you believe and assume to be true. The moment you assume that your soulmate is already connected to you, the telepathic bond is formed in the invisible world, and all that is left is for the physical world to catch up. Faith in the unseen is the key to unlocking this connection. You must trust that the bond exists even when there is no physical proof of it. You must trust in the power of your assumption, knowing that the universe will rearrange itself to match what you hold in your mind. The connection is not dependent on time or space. It is dependent on your belief. When you believe in the bond, you begin to attract it into your life, and the universe responds to that belief with precision. There may be moments when doubt creeps in, when you question whether this law truly works, or when your circumstances seem to contradict your assumption. But this is the test of your faith. The law operates through consistency. When you persist in your assumption, even in the face of doubt or uncertainty, you strengthen your alignment with the bond you seek. You stop looking for evidence outside of yourself and instead trust that the law is already at work. You no longer question when or how it will happen, because you know that it already is. This is the point at which the universe begins to unfold the reality you have assumed. When you stay faithful to your assumption, the connection with your soulmate becomes inevitable. The connection with your soulmate exists as a potential in the unseen world, and when you assume it, you bring it into the physical realm. The law works through your faith, through your belief, and through your assumption. The moment you align your inner world with the desired outcome, the outer world begins to conform to that belief. No longer must you wait for external circumstances to change. You simply assume that the bond is already in place, and as you do, the universe responds. The power of the law lies in your ability to remain steadfast in your belief and assumption. When you trust in the unseen, when you trust in the power of your own mind, you tap into the infinite creative force that shapes reality. The telepathic connection with your soulmate is not something that is outside of you, but something that exists within you, waiting to be revealed. When you align with the law of assumption, you unlock the door to that connection, and the universe will rush to meet you, bringing your soulmate and the bond you seek into your life. The law of attraction is often spoken about, but it is the unseen frequency that holds the real power of creation. Every thought, every belief, every assumption you hold about the world and about yourself vibrates at a certain frequency. And just as a radio tunes into specific stations based on its frequency, so too does your reality. The frequency you emit, based on your thoughts and feelings, is what determines the experiences you draw into your life, including the telepathic connection you seek with your soulmate. To truly connect with your soulmate, to establish that telepathic bond, it is essential to synchronize your own frequency with the frequency of the connection you desire. Your thoughts, your emotions, your energy must align with the telepathic connection you wish to manifest. This is the heart of the law of attraction, the ability to tune your inner world to match the world you wish to create. It is the inner vibration that attracts the external manifestation, and this connection is no different. Your mind is constantly broadcasting a frequency. Every moment, you are emitting an energy that is either drawing your soulmate closer to you or pushing them further away. This is why it is so important to carefully monitor the thoughts and beliefs you hold, especially when it comes to love and relationships. If you assume that your soulmate is distant or unavailable, you are aligning your frequency with that assumption, and it will be reflected back to you. But when you change your inner frequency, when you begin to vibrate at the same frequency of love, connection, and harmony that you desire with your soulmate, the universe begins to respond accordingly. The frequency you send out is the invitation that pulls your soulmate closer. Now the question becomes, how do you adjust your frequency to match the connection you seek? It starts with your thoughts. Every thought carries an energetic charge, a vibration that resonates within you and outward into the universe. If your thoughts are focused on longing, desperation, or fear, that is the frequency you are broadcasting. And just as a magnet attracts like energy, you will attract experiences, situations, and people that reflect those feelings of lack. But when you choose to focus your thoughts on the connection with your soulmate, when you imagine and feel that bond as if it already exists, you begin to shift your frequency. Your thoughts, charged with love and certainty, now vibrate in harmony with the telepathic connection you desire. The next piece to this puzzle is your emotions. Emotions are powerful frequency amplifiers. While thoughts are the seeds of creation, it is the emotions that give them life and momentum. If your thoughts are aligned with the desire to connect with your soulmate, but your emotions are rooted in fear, doubt, or uncertainty, you are sending mixed signals to the universe. Your thoughts may be calling your soulmate in, but your emotions are pushing them away. This dissonance creates resistance, and it is that resistance that slows the manifestation process. To synchronize your frequency with a telepathic connection, you must ensure that your emotions are in alignment with your thoughts. This means you must feel the connection as though it is already here. You must allow yourself to experience the emotions of being in a harmonious, loving, and deeply connected relationship. Feel the peace, the joy, the understanding that comes with such a bond. Allow yourself to bask in the emotional frequency of love and connection. The more vividly you can experience this emotional state, the stronger the frequency becomes, and the more magnetic your energy becomes to the universe. One of the most powerful ways to adjust your frequency is through visualization. Visualizing the telepathic connection with your soulmate, not as a distant dream but as a present reality, allows you to engage both your mind and your emotions. When you vividly imagine the bond you desire, and you do so with all the feeling and emotion that you can muster, you are tuning yourself to that frequency. You see, the mind does not differentiate between what is real and what. To your subconscious mind, the connection you are visualizing is as real as anything happening in the physical world. The more you engage with this mental and emotional visualization, the more your internal frequency aligns with the reality you are creating. But beyond visualization, it is also important to live in the feeling of that connection. It's not enough to simply imagine it occasionally and then go about your day. To truly synchronize your frequency, you must live as though you are already connected to your soulmate. Act as if the telepathic bond is already in place. Feel the joy, the connection, the love, and the peace that comes with that bond throughout your day. When you live in the feeling of the end result, you send out a continuous signal to the universe that you are already aligned with your soul mate, and that connection is now inevitable. Another way to adjust your frequency is by cultivating a sense of trust. When you trust in the process of creation, when you trust that the universe is responding to your frequency and will bring your soulmate to you in perfect timing, you release resistance. Doubt and fear are the antithesis of trust, and they can cause your frequency to falter. But when you trust with unwavering certainty that the connection exists, that it is already on its way, your energy aligns with that belief and the universe responds by drawing the connection closer to you. As you continue to align your frequency with the telepathic bond, you will begin to notice shifts. You may start experiencing synchronicities, moments where you feel an uncanny sense of connection with your soulmate, even without physical contact. These are signs that your energy is aligning, that your frequency is matching, and that the telepathic bond is already beginning to manifest in the unseen realm. The more you trust in your inner frequency and the power it holds, the more you will see evidence of this connection in your external reality. The process of synchronizing your frequency is not a one-time event. It is an ongoing practice. The more you focus on aligning your thoughts, emotions, and energy with the connection you seek, the stronger and more consistent your frequency becomes. And as your frequency strengthens, so does your ability to attract and manifest the telepathic bond you desire. The law of attraction is a reflection of the frequency you hold within. When you synchronize your inner energy with the bond you wish to create, the universe responds by bringing that bond into your life. You are not waiting for your soulmate to show up. You are tuning your frequency to match the telepathic connection, and the universe will align itself to bring that connection into physical reality. Ultimately, the key to manifesting the telepathic bond with your soulmate is in the alignment of your frequency. When you align your thoughts, emotions, and energy with the connection you desire, you unlock the doors to that connection, and the universe moves swiftly to bring it to you. The law of attraction is always working, but it is up to you to tune your frequency to the desired reality. And once you do, the connection you seek will manifest in ways that may seem miraculous, but are simply the result of your inner alignment with the frequency of love, connection, and harmony. When it comes to manifesting a telepathic connection with your soulmate, trust plays an essential role. Trust is often seen as a passive state, but it is in fact one of the most active and powerful tools you can wield in your process of creation. Trusting the process of manifestation means having unwavering faith that the universe is always working in your favor, that what you are assuming and believing is already beginning to unfold, even if you cannot see it yet. The path to a deep telepathic connection is not always linear or immediate. Often the desire to connect with a soulmate is accompanied by impatience, doubt, and longing. These feelings are natural, but they can inadvertently create resistance. The key to breaking free from this resistance is cultivating trust. Trust in yourself, in the power of your own imagination, and in the law that governs all creation. Trusting the process allows you to release the need for immediate validation or external proof. It is not your job to make things happen or to figure out the how. It is simply your job to believe, assume, and trust that it is already done. When you trust the process of manifestation, you recognize that the universe operates through unseen forces. You may not be able to see how the connection with your soulmate will unfold, but you trust that it will. This requires an important shift in perspective. Instead of focusing on the when or how of the connection, you focus on what you are assuming and feeling. When you hold the assumption that your soulmate is already connected to you, you are laying the foundation for the connection to manifest. Trusting that this assumption is enough without needing to see proof or have physical confirmation is what allows the process to unfold smoothly. Trust also means releasing the need to control the outcome. Many people find themselves obsessing over the details. Will I meet my soulmate soon? Will they be the person I imagine? What if they don't feel the same way? These questions stem from doubt and fear, and they create a dissonance in the energy you are emitting. When you are focused on the how and the when, you are signaling to the universe that you do not fully trust the process. You are sending mixed signals, and this creates resistance. Trusting the process means surrendering the need for answers and allowing the universe to reveal the connection in its perfect time and manner. This trust is built upon the assumption that everything you desire is already unfolding, even if you cannot see the evidence of it yet. The universe operates not on time, but on energy. The moment you align with the energy of your soulmate connection, the universe begins to bring everything into alignment to make that connection a reality. The connection you seek exists in the unseen world, and by trusting the process, you allow the universe to guide you to it. The key is not to question when or how it will happen, but to trust that it is already happening. Trust also requires patience, not in the sense of waiting for something to happen, but in the sense of knowing that the process is unfolding perfectly. When you trust in the process, you are not sitting idly by, hoping for the best. Instead, you are actively participating in the creation of your reality. By living as though your soulmate connection already exists, you continue to embody the feelings, thoughts, and assumptions of that connection without worrying about how or when it will materialize. You trust that, in its perfect time, the universe will bring you exactly what you need. One of the most powerful ways to build trust in the process is through gratitude. Gratitude is the ultimate expression of trust. When you are grateful for the connection, even before it is physically manifested, you are signaling to the universe that you already believe it is true. Gratitude aligns your energy with the energy of love and abundance. When you express gratitude for your soulmate and the connection you share, even before you have physically met or experienced it, you are strengthening your alignment with that bond. This gratitude is an affirmation that you trust the process and that you are fully engaged with the reality of your connection, regardless of external circumstances. It is also important to trust in the power of your own assumptions. Many people doubt their ability to manifest their desires, especially when it comes to love and relationships. They may think, I am not worthy of love, or my soulmate is too far away. These doubts only reinforce the belief in separation and disconnection. Trusting the process means trusting in the power of your own mind to create the reality you desire. Your assumptions shape your world, and when you trust that the bond with your soulmate is already established, the universe begins to respond in kind. Trusting in your own assumptions gives you the confidence to persist, even in the face of uncertainty. You must also trust that your soulmate is already on their way, even if they are not yet visible to you. The assumption that your soulmate is already connected to you and that the bond exists is enough to initiate the process. You do not need to see your soulmate in the physical world to know that they are already aligned with you in the unseen world. Trusting the process means believing that they are already on their journey to you, and that in time, the universe will guide you both into each other's lives. When you trust the process, you also release the need to control the timing of the connection. Many people struggle with the waiting game, wondering why their soulmate has not yet arrived. The key is to focus on the feeling of the connection, rather than the physical manifestation. When you live in the feeling of being connected with your soulmate, you shift your focus from what is missing to what is already true. The more you trust that the connection is already happening, the less you need to worry about the when. The more you trust the process, the more you align with the reality you seek, and the more the universe will bring you everything you need at exactly the right time. Building trust in the process also involves trusting in yourself and your ability to create. Trusting the process means knowing that the universe responds to your thoughts and feelings. It means knowing that your assumption is enough, and that when you align with the feeling of your soulmate connection, the universe will respond in kind. You are not waiting for external forces to align. You are the one who is creating and shaping your reality through your trust in the process. But you trust the process, you release the need to control, and you open yourself to the natural flow of manifestation. You stop questioning whether or not the telepathic connection with your soulmate is possible, and you begin to live in the assumption that it already exists. Trusting the process allows you to step into the life you desire, knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly, even when it seems like nothing is happening. It is this trust that allows the connection you desire to unfold in the most beautiful and miraculous ways. When it comes to the manifestation of a telepathic connection with your soulmate, persistence is one of the most important aspects of the process. This persistence does not mean repeating the same thoughts and beliefs in a robotic way, nor does it involve forcing the universe to respond to your desires. Instead, persistence is the ongoing commitment to living in the end result, to holding your assumptions and beliefs with unwavering faith, and to maintaining your emotional alignment with the connection you desire. It's not about immediate results, but rather about maintaining a consistent, powerful vibration that continually draws the manifestation closer to you. Persistence is the quiet confidence that your assumptions are already taking root in the unseen world, even if the external evidence is not yet visible. It's the belief that your telepathic connection with your soulmate is unfolding, regardless of how much time passes or how many challenges arise. In a world that often emphasizes quick results and instant gratification, persistence requires patience. But this patience is not a passive waiting, it's an active engagement with your desires, a daily reinforcement of your assumptions, and a steadfast belief that everything is aligning as it should. When you persist in your assumption that the bond with your soulmate already exists, you are not merely repeating words to yourself. You are deeply feeling and living as though the connection is already real. This emotional alignment, when maintained over time, strengthens your inner world and sends a clear signal to the universe that you are ready for this connection to manifest. It's not about doubting or questioning. It's about standing firm in the belief that it is already true and that the universe is responding to your energy. One of the key aspects of persistence is the ability to remain undeterred by circumstances. It's easy to become discouraged when you do not immediately see evidence of the connection in your physical reality. However, the process of manifestation is often like planting a seed. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust that beneath the surface, the seed is taking root and gradually developing. Similarly, when you assume that the telepathic bond with your soulmate exists, you must trust that the universe is working behind the scenes to align everything, even if you cannot see it yet. Persistence is the faith to keep the seed planted, to continue nurturing it with your assumptions and feelings, and to remain confident that the universe will respond in its own perfect timing. When you persist in your assumptions, you are also teaching yourself to ignore the appearance of things. External circumstances are often an illusion. They may seem to tell you that your soulmate is far away, that you are disconnected, or that the bond is not yet real. However, the truth is that your external world always mirrors your internal reality. If you persist in the assumption that the telepathic connection is already in place, the external world will eventually reflect that assumption. The world cannot help but conform to your inner beliefs and energy. So even if you do not see evidence of the connection immediately, it is important to continue to live as though it is already true. Your persistence will eventually break down any barriers that may seem to exist, and the connection will manifest in its own time. Persistence also means continuing to engage with your imagination and your feelings every single day. If you feel disconnected or doubt the process, it is not a sign that your assumption is wrong. It is simply an invitation to persist even more. It is a reminder to return to your inner reality, to remember the feelings of love, connection, and harmony that you desire, and to assume that the telepathic bond already exists. Just as in any form of creation, there will be moments of doubt, moments when it seems like things are not progressing. But persistence is the power to remain consistent, to keep assuming and feeling the connection, even when it appears to be absent. The more you persist, the stronger your emotional alignment becomes, and the faster the connection begins to manifest in the physical world. Through persistence, you also build a deeper trust in the process. You no longer need external validation or immediate signs to know that the connection is unfolding. You have come to understand that the power of your assumptions is far more powerful than anything the physical world may show you. As you persist, you reinforce your faith in the unseen world. Knowing that it is from this world that all physical manifestations emerge, persistence builds your emotional resilience, teaching you that no matter what is happening around you, the connection you seek is already in the process of being realized. This unwavering confidence becomes the key that unlocks the final manifestation of your soulmate connection. Another aspect of persistence is recognizing that your relationship with the universe is an active one. The universe responds to your vibration, to the frequency you are consistently holding. The longer you persist in that vibration, the more magnetic you become to the reality you desire. It is not enough to occasionally think about your soulmate and the connection you wish to create. The universe is not responding to sporadic thoughts or fleeting feelings. It responds to the energy you consistently send out into the world. This is why persistence is so important, because it creates consistency in your energy. It sends a clear message to the universe that you are fully aligned with your desire, and the universe cannot help but respond in kind. Persistence also has a deeply transformative effect on your own self-awareness. As you continue to engage with the process of manifesting a telepathic connection with your soulmate, you begin to recognize the power that lies within you. You begin to see how your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions are shaping your reality. This recognition is empowering, as it reminds you that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances. You are the creator of your experience. Persistence strengthens your belief in your own creative power and reminds you that through your thoughts and assumptions, you have the ability to shape your world and your connections. The more you persist in your assumptions about your soulmate connection, the more you become a magnet for love, understanding, and deep emotional connection. Persistence creates momentum. As you remain consistent, your energy becomes stronger, and the universe begins to align with your persistent belief. The connection you desire moves closer, bringing your soulmate into your life in ways that are perfectly aligned with your assumptions. Finally, persistence means living in the knowing that the connection you seek is already yours. You do not need to worry or wonder when it will happen. You simply trust that your assumptions are already creating the reality you desire. The more you persist in this knowing, the faster the manifestation unfolds. The universe responds to consistency, to unwavering faith, and to the energy you send out every day. Your telepathic connection with your soulmates, not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And that when becomes clearer with every moment of persistence, every affirmation of faith, and every assumption you hold with love and certainty. It is not the physical world that dictates the nature of your connection, but the energy you embody. Your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions shape your reality. And through consistent practice, you draw your soulmate closer to you. By trusting the process, living as if the connection already exists, and persisting with unwavering faith, you open the doors to a deep telepathic bond that transcends time, space, and circumstance. The universe responds to your inner alignment, to the frequency you emit. The more you focus on what is already true within, the more that truth will manifest in your life. Your soulmate connection is not a distant dream. It is already a reality in the unseen world, waiting to be revealed to you. And through your persistence, emotional engagement, and belief, you will see that connection unfold in the most beautiful and miraculous ways. The process is simple, but it requires your unwavering faith and trust in the unseen forces that are always at work to bring your desires to life. Keep assuming, keep imagining, and keep feeling. Your soulmate is already on their way to you.